Be making bases.
What's going on YouTube? Beat Making Basics back again with another dope video. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe, as well as give me a thumbs up if you like today's content. Now today I'm going to be giving you some beat arrangement tips for soulful beats, okay? Specifically in Logic Pro 10. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to first off let y'all hear what we have, and then from there we're going to arrange this beat into song format, and I'm just going to be giving you some simple tips or what you could do to arrange your soulful beats as well. So let's go ahead and first listen to what I have here, and then we're going to organize this project and get it rolling. So this is what we have so far. So pretty fire, right? Now the first step here when it comes to beat arrangement is to make sure you organize everything, okay? So like if you have two different parts or something, make sure you say like 1 or 2 or A and B. You want to make sure that you name everything the proper way. You know what I'm saying? So like if you have two hats, make sure that you go ahead and say hat 1 or 2 or hat A and B. Those type of things is going to be important because you want to see what you have going here when it comes to this. So what we're going to do is just going to organize everything. You can put your drums at the top or at the bottom. It's not that crazily important, but you want to make sure that everything is organized. So one tip I'm going to do here, if you look right here, not everything is matching up with the names I have here. If you highlight everything by pushing Command A, if you then push Shift and the letter N and Option, as you can see here, like this open goes right here, hat 2 here, etc., etc. All right, so let me go ahead and delete these parts right here, so I just have nothing in the workspace window but you know, all the elements of my beat. So first things first, I want to obviously identify the different sections of the song. So we have an intro, we have a hook, and we have verses. Those are going to be the main parts of the song. Of course, the outro. Sometimes you can add like a bass, I mean not a bass, but a bridge or whatever. But for the most part, especially for hip hop, it's just gonna be intro, outro, your hook, and your verses. Okay, so simple for it's like the hook. Usually that hook is gonna be everything that's in the beat. Okay, usually that's how it works, and that's how it's gonna work on this honestly for this beat. So what I'm gonna do is just push Command R and extend this beat some, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this process where I'll be muting out, you know, some of the different elements right here within the workspace window. Now, how I'm gonna mute this out is I would just basically come over here and push Control M on the stuff that we highlight. Now, some people will be like, well, why don't you just delete it? I don't delete it just because, say if I want to bring something back and like I make a mistake and I'm like, well, I'd rather actually have had this come in during this part. That's pretty much what the issue is, or not the issue, but why I do that. So far, like we have an intro for the most part, because the intro is going to be pretty much basic. It's not going to have a whole lot of stuff going on. It's really going to be just mainly melody. And then from there, it's going to go ahead and come into dropping everything for the hook. So let's just check this out. And also, this is something to keep in mind. Your intro can be either 4 or 8 bars, okay? It doesn't have to be 8 bars all the time, but it should be about 4 to 8 bars. Your hook should be about 8 bars, and your verses should be 16, all right? That's simple enough, right? So let's check this out, see if it flows well into this hook. So that's perfect. So basically this is going to be our intro, and then this is going to be our hook. Now, another thing you can do to make this simple for you to basically see what the different parts of the song or sections of the song is going to be, you can actually color code this. So if you highlight, so for instance, this is our intro, you come over here to your toolbar and go over here to colors. You can now highlight that and make that like a different colors here. So let's say if I want to make this like this blue color right here, and then for the hook, we can make that like a purple color right here, right? So we got blue for the intro. For the hook is going to be this purple color. Now we just got to identify what the verses are going to sound like. Usually for me, I'll, for the first half of the verse, just go ahead and cut out the kick. And then we have these two different sample parts. One is a high sample, and one is a low pitch sample. So like, for instance, we listen to it real quick. It's the low one. This is the high one. So what I want to do here is I'll have the high one going at one part of the beat and then the low one going at another part of the beat. Also, another thing you want to do is identify one sound that's going to only be, for the most part, during the hook. So I think this Vox is going to be like a good part to only bring in during the hook here. So let's just see how this beat sounds now as far as this verse. We can even take some of this stuff, other stuff out here. Now, sometimes you want to pay attention to this, right? Like, obviously, how your verses and stuff should flow is that you have, like, again, an 8-bar, an 8-bar hook, and then a 16-bar verse. But sometimes, like, if you look at your BPM, it could be in double time, meaning that it's really sped up. And this is really looked at as about 4 measures instead of 8. And sometimes you want to make sure that it sounds right. So like what I'm gonna do here, we're gonna actually make this hook longer, and we're gonna make our verses longer instead. So that's something you definitely want to identify when you're doing this. And of course, with your hook, you want it to build. So what you can do is like that lower pitch sample, we could have that going at first, and then to add some sense of building, I can go ahead and put this higher pitch part at the end of this verse. So now let's listen to how this sounds if we're going to do this as the verse and the intro. As you can see here, because this is like double time or sped up here, that will work fine for the verse, the hook, even though there's like technically 16 bars in here. So again, keep that in mind. Now, as you can see here, we have this section here, and just as I was explaining before, you want to go ahead and take the kick out, and you want to also go ahead and take out the part that's going to be during the hook, okay? So I'm going to take the kick out for the first 2 bars or first 2 measures here. And what I'll do is I also will, start this beat off sparse, and then we're going to build it up. So how I'm going to do that is I have the original sample here, and actually this should be the other way around. This is the higher one. All right. So we're going to have to start the beat off sparse. Nothing's in the first part of this, and then it's going to start bringing in the hi-hats and the snares and stuff. And then we'll go ahead and bring in the kick here. So let's just listen to this verse and see if it makes sense. So as you can see here, it plays pretty well as far as like a verse. It's long enough to where an artist can actually speak a lot on it, and it's pretty solid. Now, the only thing else that I would recommend as we do is give a little bit of space for a transitional aspect of things. So this is going to transition from this verse into another hook part. And what I can do is I can come over here and I can highlight this, right? And I can either come right here in the middle of a verse, all right, or I can come and do a whole verse where it drops out. So what I'll do is I'm going to actually double click here, and we're going to chop it right here is first. Okay. Reason why I'm chopping it like that is just because it's not going to stop if I don't do it like that. It's not going to, just because it's like a extended piece right here. It's just one note playing like a loop. That's why I'm chopping it like that. But either way, you're going to want to do this, do a Command T, chop it up right here. We can mute this out. And this is going to give us a little bit of space right here before the hook comes back in. Now, as you can see here, we have our intro, we have our hook, and then we have a verse. I could technically leave this green. As a matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and do that. But to finish this beat out, it's going to be pretty simple for the most part. We're going to take this and highlight just the hook and the verse, and I'll push Command R. We'll do that at least 2 times here, and we'll do a time check over here to see how long this beat is. It's 2:54. Okay, perfect. So now we're just going to make this a 2-verse track. And for our outro, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to take this intro and just drag this over here, holding down Option and just dragging it over like this. Okay. Now that that's done, pretty much this is going to be a solid like outro and all that type of stuff. Another thing you can do with your outro is you can maybe still have some parts of the hook here. So maybe we have that vocal. We have this high-pitched sample part over here, and then we're going to fade it out right here. So this is pretty much some basic tips right here when it comes to arranging your beats in Logic Pro 10. I do appreciate you all watching. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, and we'll talk about a few more things that you could do to make this beat sound pretty thorough. One thing I will say though is you can come over here and go to your audio effects and use something called the remix effect. And what we're wanting to do is create a little bit of variation between the first verse and the second verse. And this is a simple way to do that. So basically I have this plug-in on this first sample track here. And so what I'm going to do is at certain points in the song, I'm going to be using some of these features within the remix effect to make this sound different between this verse and this verse. And what I want to do to record whatever I put on here is use my automation. So I'm going to come over here where it says read, and instead of putting it on read, we're going to put it on touch. And now that that's enabled, anything that I touch on here while this beat is playing is pretty much going to record it. Now, instead of listening to each part of the song, I'm actually going to go ahead and put this like right here, and we're only going to affect the first half of each verse. So let's just check this out, see what we can do. All right, cool. So that was just enough to give it a little bit of variation between the verse 1 and verse 2. Basically, after you finish adding this remix effect, you want to make sure that you go over here to your automation options and click on read, okay? And what that's going to do is going to basically allow you to play back and watch the automation part of this go down, but it's not going to be recording it anymore. Cool thing as well is with this automation, if you push the letter A, you can actually come in here and see some of the different things that you did. And if you need to make changes, you can just click over here, and everything that you used as far as the automation aspect of things is right here. So I can just click on this, say for this tape stop, if something was off, I can change this around, move this around. I think I'm gonna leave this tape stop option alone. I pretty much did this beat for the most part pretty perfectly. I don't necessarily have to come over here and change any of this stuff. But if you need to, this is where you do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and push A, get out of that, and just pretty much this is the beat, man. Make sure that you follow, and subscribe to our channel. All right, we're coming back to back with bangers, like I said. You know what I mean? We're gonna be coming up with a lot of different great content, original content. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of this content that I give you is just from my own experience. Sometimes I do get content from, just other experiences, watching other people. Maybe someone might give me a gem and I'll try to share it. But for the most part, a big portion of whatever I bring to you on this channel is just because I'm actually out here making the beats every day. I'm out here, doing what it takes to learn how to make better beats and different things like that. So you're learning from my experience rather than saying, I'm just regurgitating information. Everything you can get here is going to be original, man. So make sure you go to my site as well. You can grab some of my courses. I have courses, full-fledged video courses that have a whole curriculum. It's organized. Once you download it, you'll have all the files saved to your computer. So after you purchase and download it, you won't have to actually get an internet connection ever again to access the course. Unlike some platforms where you have to log in and, have the, internet connection, and you can only watch it on a particular site. You know what I'm saying? So that's one benefit from getting my courses. We also have a lot of extra bonuses and goodies that we throw in those courses for you as well. You can also go to the site to grab a couple loop packs, different things of that nature. And I have one-on-one beat making lessons. So this is where you can actually book time via a Zoom call. And it's been very beneficial to the producers and the creators that do this. You're able to gain tips and ask questions along the way. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you check out all those different resources that you have available to you here at Beat Making Basics. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.